Right, everybody, listeners, this is the first episode of our new podcast, which is That Was Then, This Is Now. And I'm really excited about our very first guest, who when I picked him up in the car, I was saying to him that he was a big part of my childhood. And I sat there and I thought, he's not that much older than me. But I just wanted to introduce the legend that is Nasher, the lead guitarist of the biggest band in my view of the 80s. Nasher, welcome.
Oh, that's a very nice intro. Nearly as nice as the sweets, which are so far very good. I've had a bonbon and I've had a rhubarb and custard experience.
There you go. So you get everything. Get everything on this pod. We are
Smarties. Smarty.
Well, I was going to ask him what rider did he want, coming from that kind of world.
No, mate. The rider, our rider, what did we used to have? A bottle of Kahlua, a bottle of vodka. And I think we used to think Foster's.
Did you?
Foster's was the thing of the day. Until we went to Bremen and discovered Beck's.
Was this
a quick word from our sponsor? What happened to the other 50 mil?
Yeah.
330 it's supposed to be, not 275.
But I mean, you must have had some riders then in your past when you hit the big time. Right?
Well, you talk about the thing that I always remember about the rider was we had this joke there was a documentary about Duran Duran.
Yeah.
Touring, and there's this clip which is so it might not have been set up, but looked to me like it was set up, and he's on the phone trying to sort out the rider, this is some really important shit we're doing here. And he's going, it's Stolly, mate, it's Stolly. If you haven't got a bottle of Stolly, the band ain't going on. Yeah. So that became a thing, and
right.
we're going we want a bottle of Stolly, and we never got a bottle of Stolly because Stolly wasn't a thing. But on the day me and my wife tied the knot, we had a wedding reception at the Holiday Inn or it was the Moat House then in Liverpool, and in the room was a bottle of Stolly from our promoter, who was what's his name? His name escapes me. And we opened it because we had no toothpaste. We had the Stolly vodka mouthwash.
Well, I just wanted to, for those that might be of a certain age, you think, Nasher,
a certain vintage
is I said that you were the biggest band, and I think I read that someone actually said in that 12-month period there was no one as big as Frankie Goes to Hollywood. 84, 85, right? And so, when you think about what you went through and where you came from, so I just wanted to touch on that, because there might be some people, certainly younger kids, who go, who's Frankie Goes to Hollywood? But if you say it's Relax, or if you watch any 80s movie, right, you're always there. Even yesterday, I was still hearing it. It's everywhere.
You've just mentioned something that's come to me recently. So I was mates with a fella called Phil Harris, who used to be in a band called Ace.
Yes.
Do you remember Ace?
Yes, I do.
What was their big hit record?
How Long?
Yeah. So you're in the minority because you know that Ace did How Long.
Yeah.
If most people, you go, he was the guitarist in Ace. Who's Ace?
Yeah.
They did How Long? Oh, that one. Yeah, I know that one. So that's what we have become now. That people would go Frankie Goes to Hollywood now. Oh, you know that one, Relax. Oh, yeah, I know The Power of Love. They'll know it. Yeah. But it's the band band name that escapes them, I think. So
I need to get out, and I apologise for this now, Nasher, is there's going to be a bit of fanboy in me, right? Who needs to get it out, because it was a massive part of my life, that period. Because I remember first seeing Nasher, and I can't believe when I saw it, was when you first appeared on the Tube. And I just remember as a 15-year-old watching the TV going, what the F is that? Because you were all wearing kind of like F&M kind of gear, like leather T-shirts and stuff. And was it done in the State, in Liverpool? Yeah. And you would and I think Holly was even brandishing a handgun. Right,
that was it. No, he did. Sorry, you're right. Yeah, sorry.
And
like a little
toy handgun. That was it. Yeah,
yeah,
and he had a leather cap on. And I'm watching it, and there were these two scantily clad women. Yeah, right. And I'm thinking, what the hell is this band about? Right, and then I don't know, however long after that it was, maybe 3 months, 4 months, I'm there with this single, Relax, Don't Do It, right? I'm thinking, oh my God, it sounded nothing like, in my mind anyway, it completely changed. So what I want to dig around in those early days, if you don't mind, Nasher, is because you started off life as an electrician, right?
Yeah.
And so how did you get from being an electrician to being a guitarist in the biggest band in the world?
Sliding doors, like everything.
I mean, did you want to be a rock star?
Everyone wants to be a rock star if you can't be a footballer.
Yeah.
I mean, you think about Liverpool in the 80s, that was your being a rock star or a footballer was the keys to the kingdom. But we were part of this thing that was happening in Liverpool, and we're not really associated with it because we were kind of a little bit afterwards, and because we moved away from Liverpool. But like the thing that inspired me as a kid, and you know, getting into punk, and Magazine was the first band I saw, and I was from here to that camera away from John McGeoch, and my mind was blown. And then seeing The Cure with, you know, 50 other kids in this basement in Matthew Street, and they looked just like me and my mates. And previous to that, your thinking is that the people who were these big stars and big musicians are people who play on the stage at the Empire. Yeah. And that seems to be an unachievable goal. You could never imagine yourself or project yourself to be doing that, but I could definitely be doing what these guys are doing. Yeah. You know, and because of the kind of DIY ethic of punk rock music and the scene of put a record out, let's you know, and see what happens, and be walking around the streets of Liverpool and seeing Pete Wiley and seeing Ian McCulloch and Will Sargent just passing them in the street. They were real. They were like us. So it made any kind of, you know, ambition you had was possible, because it was you were seeing it happen to people who you knew. And you know, these people weren't Noddy Older from Slade. They were just Pete Wiley, who lived by ours, you know.
Well, from a standoffish perspective, and there I was in the hills of Wales at that time, and I was big into just getting into music. I absolutely loved it. And so, from someone who was in a Woollyback in North Wales, looking over the water, thinking, you know, from 1980 to 85, 86, what a place Liverpool was. You know, you had the Teardrop Explodes, you had Echo, you had Flock of Seagulls. You know, all this going on, Eric's. And so we used to sit there and go, we want to go to Liverpool, because what a place that must be. Yeah.
It's mythical.
It was that Yellow Brick Road down to the...
Do you know what? I have this debate often with people about how they look back on Liverpool. Yeah. And there's some big rose-tinted spectacles going on. Yeah. And of course, it was brilliant. Anything when you're 18, just to be in a club, having a bevy with the music loud and females being there is a vibe. It doesn't matter where it is. The venues and being part of being a matinee goer, or a matinee wanker, as the regulars called us. The under 18s that you go to Eric's, it was part of the scene. It was life changing, and you only have to look at what spins out of that, and the bands that you know, and that goes all the way down to like the Coral and stuff like that. I think you know, it does come into the present day. The large cast, they're all ripples of that same wave, I think, you know, of that explosion, which was kind of like.
Well, do you think it's because my other half, Christine, she used to live in Aigburth, right? And at the time, she said it was a dump. Liverpool at that time was a dump. So she left and got out of the place, because she said, honestly, Chris, it was an awful place back then. And of course, I thought, you know, I guess I first went to Liverpool when Albert Dock was done, and it all looked really nice and trendy. Yeah.
Well, you've got to look at, I think, about 40% unemployment. Yeah. Cities overrun with a heroin epidemic.
The riots were on.
The riots were a very small part of that. You know, that was that. You know, to lump that in with Liverpool at that time. Yeah. That was a symptom of the sickness that was there, and the police. You know, heavy hands of police. heavy-handed police behaviour when it come to minorities in certain parts of the city, and it was like it was a bit of excitement in your otherwise pretty dull existence if you're sitting, you know, waiting for the phone to ring or waiting for someone to come through your door to offer you a job. And you look at seaside towns all around the UK and in North Wales and in South Wales. People fled here. One, they want to get a job. Two, I'm going to put 200 miles between me and my habit.
Yeah.
Because giving up is not an option. If you know, heroin addicts love company. Because if you ain't got one, your mate might have one.
Yeah.
And it was horrible. It was horrible. But there were sparks of, and out of that is what, you know, brings this thing. That is the genesis of what followed. The music was kind of the environment.
Yeah.
But when you look at Liverpool now, you know, I've been back here 6 years, and it's just unbelievable. It bears. I've always been proud of Liverpool, but I couldn't be more proud of Liverpool than I am now. And you know what? There's bits of it that we don't like. You know, someone put Hooters in a listed building. Yeah, all right, we're all going to have to look the other way because, you know, someone's paid to do that. But on the whole, just amazing.
The architecture, I absolutely love the architecture stuff.
When COVID happened, I'd been here 6 months.
Yeah.
And that first 90 day of COVID, I did 470 miles through Liverpool city centre and took about 3,500 photographs just on me phone. But there was a part of me that was a bit gutted when it was over, because I knew all these people are going to come back and infect my Victorian gym. But as you said, it was that time, what you were saying then about the architecture, to walk down Castle Street and look up and see the murals and see the detail of the Adelphi building. Stunning, and we never get to do that because we've either got our thing in our phone when we're walking along, or we're walking trying to avoid someone who's got their head in the phone.
Yeah. Okay, so that time though, you're a Sparky. You know, you're doing probably what most teenagers did. You're going down to Eric's. You're seeing those bands. You know, when did you pick up the guitar?
I started playing when I was about 12, I think. Maybe, because Mark O'Toole, Jed O'Toole, Vinny O'Toole, and another...
They're your cousins, aren't they?
Yeah, all used to play in the bedroom. So they shared a bedroom with 4 bunk beds.
Wow.
And they used to play, and they were seriously accomplished music. They're not virtuosos.
Yeah.
But they're playing stuff by Queen and Slade and the Eagles and Boss renditions of these tunes and doing the harmonies and all of that. I think Mark would have been, when he started doing that, he'd have been about 11 or 12, because like when he was a teenager, he was doing gigs with his 2 brothers and another guy called Mark in social clubs.
Yeah.
And so, you know, you ain't getting those gigs unless you sorted. They were a band called Mark II, because they had Mark O'Toole and Mark Allen.
Okay. And Mark was the bass player, for those that don't know. Mark was the bass player in Frankie. Okay.
So Mark kind of taught me a few chords, and Jed taught me a few chords. And I just thought, you know, I remember, I think they played in Mark, I must have been about 14 or 15, because I couldn't go into the pub. But I remember them playing in a pub by ours, and I was looking through the window at them playing. And it's like, wow, cool was that be to be doing that? You know, and I'm still, I guess I'm 14.
Wow.
So, because I couldn't go in. I'd have been 14 or 15, and you know, they're playing Killer Queen and stuff like that, like proper tunes and decent, you know. And writing their own tunes as well. And so that's the thing of the thing that really hits about people accusing, you know, saying, oh, the Trevor Horn shout and all of that.
Yeah.
Mark O'Toole and Peter Gill at that time in Liverpool, when they were in the 18 and 19, years of age, they were an absolute monster rhythm section.
Yeah.
And for this latest release that came out, there was Mark actually had some recordings from the Bridewell of just him, Ped and Holly doing Two Tribes, Disneyland, Lover's Got a Gun, but they weren't deemed good enough to put out onto this release. But Two Tribes, it should be in brackets 200 mile an hour. Two Tribes, 200 mile an hour. But it's all there. You can hear the parts of the song, you know.
Well, can I pick onto that then? Because so you weren't a founding member, of Frankie, right?
I saw them play.
Yeah, so I think you replaced Jed.
Yeah,
I think, and I was just mentioning to Steve, who's producing this today, that you used to rehearse in the Bridewell, which is a pub, an old Victorian police station.
It's a Victorian police station, yeah.
And do you still go?
Yeah, I've got a really good connection with the Bridewell because it was taken over by a friend of mine, Paul Fitz, who really wanted to play on the musicals, and he had a go at it, and he couldn't make it work for one reason or another. But then it was taken over by Fiona and Dom, and they've kind of kicked it on, and they've got 3 pubs in the city centre now. It's absolutely smashing it.
And for those that haven't been there, I've only been there once myself. I think there's about 5 cells, right?
Yeah.
Do you remember which one did you have your own dedicated one?
No, do you know what's great about the cells? Because to fill a cell, you've got to start really with about 8.
Right, okay.
But if it's just me and you having a bevy and there's 2 tables there, then we'll plot up. And there might be a 6th that'll come in.
Yeah.
And they'll be our cellmates.
Okay.
And it inspires conversations.
Yeah.
And friendships as well. I mean, I remember sitting at this next to some fella, Portuguese. Where do you live? Nogsy. No, I'm from Nogsy. How are you living in Nogsy? I used to live in Liverpool, but like, not too expensive. My bird still lives in Liverpool, but I've moved. Yeah, how's Nogsy? Nogsy's boss. Brilliant. Those kind of conversations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so you guys used to practice in there, and then how did it happen from going from playing that gig on YouTube on the Tube to getting signed by ZTT?
Oh, to cut a very long and boring story short, loads of people were interested. Every record company was interested, but you've got to remember this isn't the year 2025. This is 1982, 83, and I always say Elton John was married then. Yeah, George was still in the closet, and Boy George was saying he would rather have a cup of tea. Yeah, so I think a lot of people liked the idea of this thing and the way it was dressed, but they didn't like the idea of taking on a band with 2 openly gay frontmen. Yeah, or members. It's that was a bit much. And honestly, now be honest. When you first heard what Trevor Horn had done to Relax, and you heard it for the first time, did you feel gutted because you thought, well, it doesn't quite sound like what we thought, or did you get blown away? Absolutely the opposite. I'll tell you exactly where it was. When the final mix had been done, me, Mark, and Ped were in the Bridewell, right, rehearsing, and our manager at the time, Bob Johnson, he said, "I've got the final mix of Relax. I'll drive up." And I can't remember what he was driving. It was some Bosch car he had though. Right. Bob liked his old cars. I think it might have even been a Bristol or a Jag. I think it was a Jag. And we park up on Hanover Street outside the Hanover Hotel. Yeah. And we get in the car, and Bob puts the cassette on, and it's the first time we hear it, and it's like, wow, that's a hit record. I was going to say, you must have sat there and gone, no, it's a hit record. We are going to be massive all day long. But me saying it's a hit record and everyone in the car agreeing with me is a million miles from making it a hit record. Because you just shot overnight. It felt like the superstardom. It crawled. It crawled.
Right.
Relax went in the 90s or something. It got to like 54 and then went down. And that, like at that time, I'm thinking that's bosh.
Yeah.
Top 100 single. It's a good start.
Yeah.
Bit of a shame because it's monstrous. But what's next? But when it dropped down to 55, the Tube had us back on.
Yeah.
And that tipped us. The Tube had us back on with the girl on the motorcycle, Siobhan, and we did Relax and Ferry Cross the Mersey, and that got us into the top 40, which got us top of the pops. So it's these
Yeah.
this is the thing. It's nothing to do with how good your record is. We've all got records in our collection that should have been as big as Relax and Two Tribes, in our opinion, right? But it's the sliding doors moments. We get on top of the pops. First time the nation hears us, we go from 30-something to 6. Yeah. Midweek prediction is number 2. Mike Reid throws his toys out the pram.
Yeah, it's funny.
But yeah, I've been diffusing that myth that it got to number 1 because it was banned is a myth.
Yeah.
It'd have been number 1 anyway. You look at that jumping where it did and going from, bands never used to do that. That's a massive impact to go, bosh, here it is.
Well, I have a confession to make, because when I got that single, and it was an interesting artwork on the front, and I'd sing along to it. When you have misheard lyrics.
Yeah.
And one of the reasons why I bought Some of These Sweets Tonight was because I thought the lyrics were, and I was singing this in school and everything else, relax, don't do it when you want to sucker chew it.
Yeah.
Right?
Stewart should have taken it up, shouldn't he? Really?
And I used to sit there.
That's poor on our publishing company there, isn't it? Yeah. You should be on to Stewart's now.
And I used to sit there and think, why would they say suck a chew it? And I thought it was a thing that you had to suck a chew it. And yeah, so misheard lyric. That was.
But that's and it's also naivety given your age.
I know. Yeah.
So, I want to go back to something you said before about the S&M gear.
Yeah.
So we're wearing this gear. I've got no idea. This is S&M gear. I don't even know what S&M gear is.
Yeah.
And recently, Holly had an exhibition in the City of Liverpool Museum, and they had one of John Stoddart's photographs up on the wall, and it looked. I just remember seeing it and going, "Wow!" I haven't seen that photograph blown up that big for ever.
Yeah.
I've seen I know it's really impressive. And then a couple of months back last year, John Stoddart, who took the photographs, did a Q&A at the Open Eye in Liverpool. And I went and I listened to him the first time I've seen John in forever. And he talked about some of these Frankie pictures. And the thing, when you look at those early Stoddart sessions with all the leather gear and that,
yeah,
it dawns on me for the first time of looking at it that they're completely timeless. There is nothing in that, like, if someone said to you, they took these photographs yesterday,
yeah.
There's no labels, there's no logos, there's nothing that was deemed on trend. There was no haircuts that tied it to that time.
Yeah.
At the time, it all looked a bit rough and a bit ragged around the edges, and I think that was part of its charm, because you're getting your photograph taken. I haven't got a clue what we're doing. And John's directing it, and it was brilliant to see him again and talk about it, because he did a bunch of stuff for us, and then how we were kind of like a small part of what his journey became. Photographing Arnold Schwarzenegger, Scorsese, you name them, he shot them all. And so it was good, and yeah, the S&M. I said it should be more M&S, but the reason it wasn't S&M, it was Mad Max.
Right,
that was the look. We were all nuts over Mad Max. Two Tribes, working for the Black Gas, is lifted from the monologue at the start of Mad Max 2, Great Warrior Tribes and the Black Fuel, or the Black Gold, or something. He says that was it. Two Tribes Go to War was Mad Max.
And on that note, right, Power of Love, I'll protect you from the hooded claw. I used to watch a cartoon with Penelope Pitstopping, and I'm thinking,
the Wacky Days.
They're talking about that.
Yeah. Well, go on.
Because you co-wrote Power of Love.
Well, go on. I was just going to say to you then, that goes back to Mark O'Toole's childhood bedroom.
Okay.
And me, Mark and Ped, sitting in his bedroom. Ped's got a drum machine, and we've got a little Fostex X15, which was, I think it was Colin, Mark's brother, had it.
Yeah.
And we did the first demo for The Power of Love on a little X15 cassette thing, 4-track recorder.
Wow.
Dead slow drum machine. Sounds like Pink Floyd. Plenty of spaces in the bass and a guitar with too much echo on it. Yeah, too much. Too much. You can't have too much echo.
But I mean, so now you find yourself elevated. You could not have thought you would be where you are because you were just everywhere. Your first 3 singles go to #1, which hadn't happened since Jerry and the Pacemakers, like 20 odd years before. And you just, 84, 85 was just like, must have been a whirlwind in some respects. But you were everywhere. And the excesses must have been just unreal. You couldn't have imagined that. Even when you're in that bedroom thinking, I'm going to be a rock star. Come on.
It was amazing and meteoric. And I think there's a bit of all of us that like the fact that that's what it was. And it didn't become, it kind of it didn't fizzle out in public really.
Yeah.
Because I think by the time the second record had come on, people had kind of moved on a little bit from it. It had gone aha, and there had been a slight change in the music because everybody had inherited the technology.
Yeah.
It all became Stock Aitken and Waterman, so it became a different vibe. But you're in the eye of the hurricane. I'm 21, and you're going around the world, and everywhere you go, somebody wants to show you a good time and take you out. And it's like the first tour we did of America, we went and did like a club tour at the end of 1984 before we came back here and played in Liverpool, and that was the best. That was the best time. We're doing it. This is it. We're a proper band now. We're on tour.
Yeah.
This is the difference. This is not just playing in little venues in England, which is kind of what we'd done before. We hadn't done any big theatre shows or anything like that.
Right.
So we go and do these club tour, and it was just so exciting, and the experience of it. And we were shit hot. We were shit hot. It was really, really good. And so when we came back and presented that in Liverpool, that was like, yeah, you remember what left?
Yeah.
Come and have a slice of this. This is going to knock your head off. But being in America and going to all the different cities, and someone would say to you, like, people are turning up to the gigs, and these people are Anglophiles. These are Americans, but who follow the British music scene. Canada, kind of very similar to here. So we did the opening gigs in Canada, but then going down into America and playing some real small places to playing some quite big places, wherever we could, get by and fill it. And, you meet someone and go, what are you doing? Just want to come back to our university campus. Where's that? It's 40 miles away. And like 40 miles away to them, it's like, do it like you picking me up from the station, it's nothing. 40 miles. You ever got mushrooms? Yeah, go on then. Yeah, and we always had a thing with the, when you used to go to hotels, then they had matchbooks on the reception with the address of the hotel. And if me, Mark and Pez were out and we're going to go on an adventure, someone goes, we want to come and do this. One of us got $100 bill and probably a matchbook with the hotel on it. So you're never $100 more away from this address.
Got you.
Really. And just had some amazing times, like going to house parties in Chicago and the wrong side of town. And
but did it not feel like a chore though when the record company going, oh, you got to get on a flight now to wherever it might be?
We didn't have the record company doing that. We had the tour manager who was like our dad. All the guys who work for us, when we were going on tour, we said, right, who's going to do the PA and who's going to do the light? Because we took a production. We didn't just turn up with the amps. We took lights, a whole stage set. which was unreal.
Yeah.
And unheard of in some of the venues we played. And it was, we love AC/DC. They sound amazing live. The shows are always great. So who does AC/DC's lights and who does their sounds? And it's like Meteorites and Malcolm Hill, right? We get them. And these guys were, the guys who did our PA and did our sounds and looked after us and were experienced tour veterans. When I say experienced, probably only like not 10 years older than me, really, but they looked after us and we were in good hands with them. And it wasn't about having to do stuff with record companies. There was a bit of that, but that's mostly East and West Coast. The rest of it, you're kind of left to your own devices in the middle.
And that was America, but what was it like? I mean, like Australia, Japan, was it the same out there or?
Never went to Australia. That's a long story, yeah, which I won't repeat here.
Right.
But,
that's part two.
Japan was amazing. Blade Runner. We being well into Blade Runner at this time.
Yeah.
Blade Runner's only like 3 years old. So we turn up in Tokyo in the rainy season, middle of July. It's 80 degrees, but lashing down, and the humidity is just insane. And it's Blade Runner. It's the fit. I think it was definitely the first time for me, but I think for a lot of people, if you go to places like that, not so much now because travel has become so much more accessible, but it's the only time you feel like you're on another planet or a different place, because none of the street signs and stuff is in English. No. You know, you can usually get by. Once you start getting into the scribbling, it becomes a bit more difficult. But even now, you know, that's Google. You put your camera up and we're going this way. But it was amazing, an amazing experience, and to get the Japanese out of the seats and having a stage invasion. We had the last night of the tour in Japan. The last night of tours are always like stuff happens on stage that shouldn't happen. There's not necessarily part of the routine,
right?
And for the whole of the tour, all of the road crew had been learning how to play relax.
Right.
So when we played relax for the encore, and Holly would be in the spotlight, and there'd be the big keyboard note, and he would do the intro, the Mahahaya intro, and he starts, and it takes him about 30 seconds into the song.
Yeah.
Before he looks down and sees me, Mark, Ped and Paul all in the orchestra pit giving him that. And all of our road crew are all playing the song behind him. So he gives it to the first verse, and then he just drops the microphone. And then a guy called John Rinaldi, who did the slides,
right,
who was like the quietest, meekest guy, suddenly runs on stage and grabs the mic and gets involved. And you know what? I don't think I've seen John Rinaldi since then.
Brilliant.
I think it was the last night of the tour. But amazing, those kind of memories, just, boss.
Now, I'm not going to go through what happened, right? Because, there's mixed stories out there, and people can read up on Google and all that kind of stuff. But when it came to quite an abrupt end, I think, you after Liverpool, the second album, there was a bus stop or something on tour. I don't know what it was. But anyway, looking back, do you miss it?
No, oh God, no.
Because
absolutely.
From an outsider's perspective, we just
imagine what a twat you'd turn into doing that for 20 years. And, you become Bono.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I love you
Mick
too.
Jagger.
Mickey Jagger. Yeah. Have a little dignity. Can you not just have a decade
He doesn't
off?
need the money, does he?
No, but it's all these guys you've ever known, respect for them for doing it. I just don't expect me to turn up when you do it. I don't want to be there. I don't want to see it. I've seen it. Was
there part of you that kind of, though, after it finished, went, thank God, I've done that now? And
no, because when the ship goes down, you are in uncharted waters, so you don't know what's going to happen, and you have the arrogance of youth, and given you're on you've just. We still, the brand, what they would say, the brand still has some quality, some life. And you think that you're going to get picked up, and of course that doesn't happen because it's not the same thing.
Well, I mean, when you look at it, you were affecting culture. You know, we had relaxed T-shirts. You know, it was just phenomenal. And so when it all came to an end, people like me and my circle of friends, we all just thought, oh, do you know what? He'll be living it up in Miami in his big mansion, you know, absolutely loaded, and this, that, and the other. And I think I heard an interview with you, and you went, I was broke after Frankie.
No, well, we
how does that happen?
What people don't understand about record contracts. So me and you are going to make this podcast now, right?
Yeah.
And it's going to cost £1 million to make it, and your name's on the door, so you're paying for it. And every time this podcast gets downloaded, that will take a little bit off it doesn't come off the top. You pay that. You're on 6%, right, of retail. So for every podcast that goes down for £1, you're getting 6p, and you've got to pay back the $1 million out of your 6p.
Hang on, that's 6p though. But that 6p was between the 5 of you.
Yes.
Jeez.
And that's what we got. That's what we got now with Spotify. You got 8 thousandths of a penny. So I get a 385-page PDF of royalties. and I stuck some on my Facebook a couple of years back going, yeah, look at this. This is one page of the power of love and the amount of plays. And you'd need a Nasher scientist to work out how small the payment is. It's nothing. You know?
Could you not survive? I mean, you've spoken about Noddy in the past. I used to analyse data, and I remember I got Noddy Holder.
Yeah.
And I was looking at the stats, and I'm sure you won't mind me saying because it's out in the public domain, but he gets something like $500,000 every year just from Happy Christmas.
Yeah, Merry
right?
Christmas. Yeah.
So that's his retirement. So could you not live off the power of love and relax and out of yourself?
It's like getting paid for the job that you did 40 years ago, and you know, that's that. that's all there is to say about it. It's nice, but
it's like a bonus, then, is it?
Going back to the point we made before about the £1 million.
Yeah.
So we put this podcast out tomorrow. You're not recouping the £1 million until 10 years from now.
Yeah.
So you're potless.
Yeah.
You've got the publishing rights to the podcast that you might be able to get some revenue off because we signed a publishing deal for, I think, like £100 each.
Wow.
So that was recouped, you know, first 3 hours of Relax being on sale. So we were getting money from the publishing, but we didn't recoup our £800,000 of recording costs until 1991 when the Greatest Hits came out. Yeah. And that was a check came through my door. And I'm going like, wow, I wasn't expecting to get that. And this, because it was the Greatest Hits, it was at a quarter of the royalty rate.
Right.
Yeah, nice guy, Trev. Yeah. And at that time, I'd had a house, and my missus had 2 kids, and blah, blah, blah. I had to sell the house, ended up on housing benefit, going down Tesco with the milk tokens, and being at home with the kids.
Jeez.
But it was, you know, it was chaotic. But at that time, your focus is on other stuff, so you don't really, you're just trying to survive at this point. So, you know, that kind of thing. So get this check comes through. I was going, fucking hell, the rest of the country's in recession.
Yeah.
I might be able to get back on the housing ladder, blah, blah, blah. And I have to say, my time claiming benefits in this country, people get battered for claiming it. You know, we all paid in. We all paid in, and it was there when I needed it. And I have to say, my experience with the people in the benefit system was brilliant. Every person I come into contact with just went, your last claim was like, you know, 10 years ago, you were on the dole for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And as soon as they knew that I was a man in need, don't post it, take it to them now, get it in there, get your claim going. They were unreal.
Shocking. It's shocking to think, like you say, someone who could have been in such a band, earning so much money somewhere, was getting ripped off.
I'd never wanted to. I'd never wanted to sound like it's not a. It's at the time. I remember speaking to my daughter about it recently, and I was saying like we used to go down the shop, and I put like 20 pence in the Zumbo and the kids, and I said like at that time that was really hard, and my missus going back to work, and not a lot of money coming in, and you get an housing benefit and all that. But I was talking about that time to my daughter, and saying that was hard times, you know. And she just goes, I just thought that was the greatest, going down the river and throwing sticks in it. And, and
memories,
you know,
right?
Getting a lolly, you know, getting a Calippo. 20 pence Calippo. What happened to the 20 pence Calippo? That's what I want to know.
No, don't they do Freddos? Don't they say...
there should be a Freddo index. The Freddo should be on Wall Street.
They are just phenomenal.
I know. The other day.
Disgusting.
One English nugget. Perfect, yeah.
So, okay, so you then kind of got through that, and you're thinking, what am I going to do now? Do you go back to being an electrician? Do you stay in the music industry? I mean,
I stayed in the music industry. Me and a mate, after Frankie fell apart, myself, Mark O'Toole, and Peter Gill got together with a guy called Grant Bolt, who was a singer in a band called The Promise, who'd supported us on our first tour.
Okay,
around Britain and Europe, and we did some demos, and again, I had a load of people interested. London Records spent like 20 grand on demos.
Gosh.
And didn't pull the trigger. But yeah, that was, you know, they wanted the name, and not everybody was agreeable about us being able to use the name, so that fell out of bed. And then me and Grant carried on and signed to a label called Swan Yards Records, which was like, it was like absolutely fabulous, but in the music industry. So the lady who ran the company, called Margarita Hamilton, she wasn't a nasty or a snide or someone who's going to rip you off, but our fella owns a diamond mine, so this record label was a bit of a toy. Yeah. And they signed Technotronic. You know, they got the license for Technotronic. This is a great story. And it's like 500 quid they paid for it. And they put the album out. And the album is a million seller in this country. It does 1 million copies. And they ends up floating the label on the stock exchange, the building studios in New York. This is all what's going to be in the portfolio. So they sold shares in the company. Yeah. So like, these fellas, ex-army fellas from Brighton had come down, and they get shown into the studio, which is like being on the Starship Enterprise. Massive desk, big rooms. It was when it was all moving from big live rooms into big control rooms. And they go, yeah, right, it's very impressive. Yeah, I just play something, and you just play something too loud. Thanks very much. And then they'd leave. Yeah, put me down for 4%. And all these people lost their shirt, on this company. Yeah. And I remember being in the studio one night and looking for some stationery for some track sheets. And in the cupboards was boxes of the company's accounts. God. I'm going like, I don't know what this means, but I'll have one of them. And I sent it to my accountant, and I went, talk me through that then, in layman's terms. He said, well, if ICI issued a stock report like this, the stock exchange would, or a share report like this, the stock exchange would go and it would collapse, So that was an experience. But we were on a wage, and they had a great studio. We made this fantastic record called Enter the Bigger Reality, which is, you can find it, it's out there on YouTube. And we were called Low, just the two of us. And we made this monstrous record. And this was the thing about the record, with the record label. If the record's never released, it's never a failure. It's always a potential hit. If it's still in the cupboard, it's not number 78, is it? No. So that we became part of Brian Nash, Frankie Goes, come here, and you'd be shaking hands with all these, like some Malaysians get wheeled in. All right, mate, Frankie Goes, bizarre, absolutely bizarre.
But I saw a program. I think it was Bands Reunited.
Oh yeah,
and I think you had a studio.
Yeah,
you have your own studio.
Yeah, I had a studio for over 20 years in North London. Yeah, built it myself. It was a really funky place, right at the back of the high street, and it was owned by a company, a family who owned big chunks of Barnet.
Yeah.
And it was only prior to us having it as a studio, it had been a furniture warehouse. And they couldn't really rent it out for anything else because it didn't have any running water. But it had a toilet that was attached to the estate agents, which they also owned, which is the Victorian building that is on the high street.
Okay.
So we had it, and I was at the start, I was paying £625 a quarter.
Oh, wow.
And 20 years later, I was paying £625 a quarter.
Steve, that's what you should have done.
The rent never went up in all that time. And to be fair to the family, the Young family, Jim Young was the real gentle soul. And it was like, oh, it's a music studio. He don't need the dough. He's just like happy to come down and have a coffee with you and say hello and go, oh, this is great. You know, what are you up to? Blah, blah, blah. And I had to move out because of it happened as a timely thing, because it happened kind of a year before I moved back here. I had to move out. Property developers wanted to build something on it, and it's gone. But it's still standing there. They, like all of these property things, they apply for something, and then when they get the permission, they apply again to expand, and they would refuse to expand. So they sold it to the people who owned the car park at the back, which I think someday it'll be a nice muse.
Yeah. But that's the reason why you came back to Liverpool, because you had to get rid of the studio.
No, came back to Liverpool because my mother-in-law was here and she was getting on. And my daughter had come to university here and stayed here, and she had a family here and has now got two of our grandchildren. And it came about by accident. It was kind of having a family conversation, and someone went, I think my son says I'd live in Liverpool tomorrow. And then my missus went, so was I. And I went, all right, hang on a minute. That was so me, yeah. I'd go back to Liverpool, yeah. So we came back, and it's not a single morning have either of us woken up and gone, that was a bad move. Yeah. It's brilliant. The things that are available to you on your doorstep, food, off the scale, an absolute joke, unbelievable scran in this city. Pubs, theatres, live music. Yeah. You know, if you want some madness, you can go to Matthew Street. You go to Baltic, go out to Egbert, do Lark Lane. You know, there's so much here. And the example I give is, say, if I, like, next Thursday, I'm going to the Unity Theatre to see a show. Don't know, it's like 20 quid. Not even that. I think about 15 quid each. Yeah, have that. So me and my missus go out, I go and have a scran, get a cab there and back. It's a night out for less than a one. You say, doing that in London, that's 300 quid. Yeah. 300 quid minimum. It's 100 bullets each for the tickets, you know.
I say to everybody who will listen, Chris and I go out probably at least once a week to a music venue, and we don't even know who they are, but we'll go. Yeah, it might be a Hangar 34, down the Baltic area.
Hangar 34 was the venue that can between that and Pato, and the real people have finished me off. I can no longer go to a gig now without my specially made for me ear filters. Really? Yeah, because the tinnitus, it's not going to go away, and it's not going to get any better. And so live music for me now, I pick and choose it. I try and go to a lot, and I try and support a lot of younger musicians coming through. And I have the earplugs in, but I do give it a little bend out just to hear what it sounds like in the room. But they're great because the band can't hide from it, because it trims it all down. You can hear it all. You're not hearing all of this.
But the thing is, I was at a gig on Saturday, then Jericho, in the O2.
Sorry for you.
Well, I went there, and it was like in the O2, but it was in the first floor. And I think that's an appalling venue.
The big room?
No, the small one.
The small room, yeah, no, not great.
Oh, and you know what? I thought, and they had people talking all the way through it. I was like, do you know what? I'll give up. I stayed maybe half an hour and went.
Do you know when I gave up? When I saw the poster.
Stop it.
The Jericho Army. No, do you know what? I've met Mark Shore a couple of times. We used to, when Dan Jericho had a hit with Big Area, me and the lads used to sing "This Great Big Area, One of Mine" in like the club style. "This great big area, one of mine."
But you're still gigging.
I do bits and pieces. The last thing I did was absolutely amazing, which was there's a gentleman I know called Tim O'Tierney who runs a guitar group at the Florence Institute in Liverpool.
Yeah.
Known to the locals as the Florrie. And I've followed Timo since he started the group, and I always share the stuff that he does. It's such a welcoming environment. I sent my brother-in-law, who's just moved from London to here, sent him there, absolutely loves it. Found a few old boys his age who the same, and we get involved and play the tunes. And it's a great community there, which is kind of like an emblem of what the Florence Institute is. It is the community. And he does this thing, 600 guitars every year. We get 600 guitar players come from all over the country, come and play, and you can download the music, you get it from here, blah, 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 and they all turn up and they play Dirty Old Town or what have you. And over the years, it's got bigger and bigger. So I've played twice. I did The Power of Love twice, which was amazing to play. It was interesting. I've played The Power of Love on my own for 20 years. And how I play it, and it's basically muscle memory of the strumming. But when I'm playing it with 600 other people, it's got to be a bit more like ding, ding, ding. I sounded like Oasis doing The Power of Love, which is probably not a bad thing. I'd quite like to hear Oasis do The Power of Love. But this year, there's a girl called Olga Fitz who goes to the Florrie guitar group, and she's a singer. And Timo said, "Do you want to do The Power of Love with Olga?" So we finished the show this year at Mountford Hall, the 600 guitars, and I played and did backing vocals. Yeah. And Olga smashed it out of the park. Wow. And she's a 15-year-old schoolgirl. Amazing. And this is, you know, when we were in the car before, and I said to you, we're still talking about it. Yeah. This thing that happened all those years ago, last century, is still coming into my life and providing me with amazing experiences like that. Another one, with The Power of Love. This was out just.
But it wasn't. Hang on. But Power of Love everyone thinks it's a Christmas song.
Yeah.
But it wasn't, was it?
It just came out at Christmas, and they thought it would be a good idea to spend thousands and thousands of pounds to go to Israel and film the nativity there when they could have done it on Southport Beach. But
anyway, I interrupted.
And we weren't in charge of the purse string, so no. I just thought it was terrible. I didn't think the video was very good. I think I've only watched it about twice. I kind of like, when it comes into my ballpark, I kind of look the other way. Nah, no good. But it's The Power of Love. The 600 guitarists, doing it with them. Go get a thing from this Resonate Hub. What do you do? Oh, we do music in schools. Do you want to come and sing The Power of Love with 600 kids? Where? Convention Centre. Sound. What date? See you there. 3 days before, go and meet the house band. Yeah. Play. Give them 2 goals. You're all musicians. It's only 5 chords. Yeah. And also a bit of Jeopardy. Makes them all sure they're all on the toes. Like, I don't have to be on my toes, I know it. And I get to go out, and these kids have all been learning these songs in school. So there's some stuff from Moana. There's a lady gets up and does some gospel stuff, and I get up and do The Power of Love, and the words are on the screen, and they're all singing the chorus back at me. These are 5 to 7 year olds the first day, went back the next day and did it to 8 to 10 year olds. And when I got in from it, I walked into the living room, my miss was sitting there watching the telly, and she went, "Are you all right?" And I went, "Yeah, why?" And she said, "Just look a bit weird." I said, I've just had my heads blown off by doing this thing with these kids. Wow. And I filmed a bit of them. I did a Scouse medley at the end, which went from Guidance, There She Goes, into Guidance Star by Cast, and all the kids doing a cappella, get up, get up, get up. And I put it on my Twitter and asked John Power, and he shared it and said like it was like a Scouse Sesame Street, which it was. It was amazing, and because they're too cool to know whether it's the music they want to be into. They're just kids who like hear the song, and so all of this like it is like John Power could be something that's in a Disney film to them. You know what I mean? Absolutely mind blowing, and in about 5 days it has over 150,000 views. And then I had to take it down because one of the mums of one of the kids that was in this dimly lit room complained and said, "Oh, my kid shouldn't have been filmed." But amazing. And again, there's another one of those things about like, say yes.
Well, he's John's just come off the back of doing the Oasis stuff, hasn't he? So that must have been quite an interesting thing. And I noticed I've got a bone to pick with you actually on a couple of things. Because I tried to get tickets to your gig that you're doing. I think it's for cancer for one of the hospitals with Ian McNabb and Prowsey.
Oh, at the Pen Factory.
Freaking sold out already.
Oh yeah. What happened? I know Fiona and Tom who run the Bridewell, and Fiona wanted to do something for Clatterbridge, and she said to me, "Wouldn't it be great to have like a Scousers and have loads of people playing?" And I went, "No, it wouldn't. It'd just be because I want to help you to do this, and I'm just voting myself for a migraine here, you know." I said, "So if I get me and the two Ians to do this, you're only selling 100 tickets. Those 100 tickets will go." And then after that, it was deemed that we should do it once more. So we're going to go to St. Michael's Church and do it. So, and we're doing one in London as well. So I don't know. Well,
if any dropouts happen, you need to let me know and I'll get in there.
Hey, mate.
And then the other thing I'm going to pick with you is because I heard that you were doing the Liverpool music tour. I thought that would be a scream. Yeah. That would be a laugh. And then it said, go online. But I'm going on. And you're only doing it at the weekends. And every weekend I chose, it was sold out.
You can't. It's got to be special, Chris.
I got to June. I got to June, and it was still sold out to June. I'm like, this is a joke.
I haven't announced any dates this year, so there's one a month from April to September.
Right.
So it's only 6 a year.
And do you do it on your own, or do you do it with Peter?
No. Peter and Keith, their tours are boss as well. I've had good reviews, but so have they. They've had really good reviews, and they're different because whilst there are communal points on the path from the farm success, it's a different story for them about Crash Studios and about the Ministry and the Lomax and places like that. So. The second half of it is kind of there's chunks of it that are different, and I think in between Keith and Peter it'll be different as well, because it's not off a script. It's about your individual experiences. So I tell stories about what it was like, and about various musical landmarks, and we finish at we stop at the Bridewell on the way.
Yeah.
We get a nice cell booked.
Right.
Can be a bit snug if there's a dozen on. If the tour's sold out, there's only a dozen on the tour.
Yeah.
Because I won't do more. If you've got more than 12 people, you can't engage with them.
No.
You know what I mean? And so we go to the Bridewell. They have a beer in the Bridewell, and then we do the second half of the tour, which ends at the State on Dale Street, and then we go downstairs in the Denby Castle and have another pint and have a chat until everybody wants to go home.
So you're half cut by the end of it.
No, never have. What's? I think probably three. 3 is the most. Yeah. No.
And also, can you confirm or not? You said before that in the early days at Liverpool, and you all buggered off. Pete Wiley claims that he wrote that song "Come Back," which I loved at the time, was because everyone was leaving.
Yeah.
And it was a case of saying, "Oi, get yourselves back here. It's a great place."
I don't. Yeah. Pete. Yeah, he's at.
Be careful, because I want to try and get him on this pod.
No, he's great. He's absolute. To do something like this, he's absolute value. We've had a couple of disagreements, but you know what? He's all right. He's like, I've had loads of Pete. You know what I mean? Someone else can have them for a bit. It's like, no.
Well, I'm doing a shout.
I love being in his company. But sometimes that can be a higher price to pay.
Well, I'm trying to. This is episode number 1. I am trying to get the likes of Pete Wiley in. I want to get the guys from OMD.
You better not go. All right, is that the guy from OMD?
No, Andy
There's two of them,
McCluskey.
by
Andy
the way.
McCluskey. I want to get on because he seems like good value. I also want to get Ian McCulloch. I think he'd be good.
Wouldn't get out of bed, mate.
Wouldn't he?
Wouldn't get out of bed for his ma. No. When was the last time you seen anything with McCulloch?
Yeah, actually.
I've seen that Sky Arts thing, and it was.
What about Julian Cope? Is he around here still?
No, he's in the Midlands. I don't know where he is.
Because they were a big part of my thing as well. But do you still keep in touch with the rest of the guys at Frankie?
Yeah, I speak to Mark and Pez every now and again. I had a little chat with Mark the other week because I did a piece for the Liverpool football programme.
Yeah.
For the Burnley game and talking about Eurovision, and I said to Mark, I want to talk because I got to go to the game with Mark, which was great when we had the Eurovision thing here.
And hang on, why? I was going to pick up on this. Why one song?
That was what the pitch was. The pitch came through and said, "Wouldn't it be great if Frankie Goes to Hollywood opened Eurovision playing Welcome to the Pleasure Zone?" I was like, yeah, that's all right.
Was there actually a Pleasure Zone? What was that about?
It's from Kubla Khan. What's his name? Xanadu de Kubla Khan, a Pleasure Zone decree.
Yeah.
What's his name? Oh. Steve's gonna be googling. Come on, Steve, bail me out.
Yeah, but I honestly thought it was about some kind of nightclub or something in Wallasey.
No, wasn't there a nightclub in Birkenhead or something?
Yeah, there was called the Pleasure Zone. I thought that's what it was about.
I've never been there. I don't know where. I haven't spent a lot of time over this side. It's all a bit alien to me.
Listeners, you don't know how. Yeah, well, you rang me the other day and said, "Am I on the dark side?" Yeah,
it is the dark side. No, but you know what? You can take the insult of being called the dark side, but you've got the best view. You know what I mean? From the river. Now, and if you're on the other side, you've got the best. You've got a better view of Wales.
Yeah. Now, I also want to just ask a couple of other questions of you, and that is, what music did you listen to when you were a kid? So, what album would you recommend? And also, have you got one now that you would tell us to listen to?
First album that I really got immersed in as a record, it was about being immersed in the atmospheres of these records. So the first record I ever played on a turntable that I played by my own choice was Ella Fitzgerald Sings Cole Porter.
Oh my God.
Because that's what was in the records rack. And I'd heard Ella, I'd maybe heard something about Ella. So I'm not 10 when this is happening.
Wow.
And she does, on one of those tracks is a song called Miss Otis Regrets. Check out Ella Fitzgerald singing Miss Otis Regrets. It's stunning.
Wow. I've known that.
And then from then, the other thing that I got on was Bridge Over Troubled Water.
Okay.
And again, it's the atmosphere of that record. That is an outstanding record. And then from there, I got to Ziggy Stardust, which is, again, is an atmosphere.
Queen
record.
Bitch was one of my favourite songs.
Hunky Dory. But listening to Ziggy Stardust was like, wow, this is something else. And Slade. I love Slade. Still love Slade.
I didn't realise how big Slade were. I went to see them just before Christmas.
That's not Slade. That's Dave Hill.
That was Dave Hill. Dave Hill Slade.
Guns.
But then I saw a documentary. I did not realise how big they actually were. I was too young for Slade. But...
Great songs. Absolutely brilliant songs. So when Mark and Jed and Vin were all playing in the bedroom, that's would be the songs they'd be playing. Wow. And when the Slade album come out, they go down to Rushworth and get they get the book with all the chord sheets in and all that, because you could, that none of that stuff was at a fingertip then.
Wasn't tabs.
You had to go to Rushworth and steal it. But Slade were amazing. And, you know, this was, again, sliding doors. First time we do Top of the Pops, gone in at number 36. And this is at the same time that Slade are having a resurgence because they've done the Reading Festival.
Yeah.
Stepped in for Ozzy and absolutely smashed it. And I can't remember what the record was. It might have been Wall of Sound or something. I don't know. We're on Top of the Pops with Slade. Me and Mark O'Toole are standing at the bar in the green room at the BBC, waiting to do Top of the Pops and having a bevy with John Powell and Jimmy Lee. And you know, if it all would have ended after that, as I've had that.
Brill.
I've been in the green room with John Powell and Jimmy Lee.
Brill.
Absolutely brilliant.
Well, I'll be doing something similar now. So I've been in the content room with Nasher.
Is this the concert room?
The
Is
concert
this what it's
room,
called?
yeah. But, well, a couple of other questions then, which I know are big in your life, and that is, because I'm a big Reds fan, what is going on? Is Andy Robertson going to go?
Oh, not asked.
And how often do you go?
Do you know what? We're old nothing. Nobody in this country has seen what we've seen.
Mm.
And in my lifetime, we've never finished below 8th.
Yeah.
And in my lifetime, I've seen all those European Cups, all those FA Cups, all those League Cups, 15 league titles, a couple of UEFA Cups, FIFA Super Cups.
I'm just checking.
And I'm not even counting the charity
I'm just checking that he's still recording because Steve's an Evertonian.
No, but we're old nothing, and this is a ride, and so everything that I see now is just gravy. And I watched. I went to the match the other week to see us play Forest, and we got good 3-0.
Yeah,
and I realised sitting in the ground, I've gone on my own, no bevies, gone straight home after. So match day experience for the art fella, and I go in and we get gubbed 3-0, and I realised I had a bit of an epiphany in that the team playing well and the atmosphere in the ground is enough to plaster over the cracks of everything I hate about modern football. So Forest score a goal and we're waiting to kick off, and so now football just exists for television. VAR has killed it.
Yeah,
you know, football is the 20 seconds or 30 seconds after the ball hits the net, and that they've killed that, because every time that happens, it's questionable.
Yeah.
You know, there's always, you can always, if you want to, I think it's corrupt. But I'll still go I'll go and watch the games in the pub with me, mate, and we have a pint.
Well, if ever you go to the matches, right, get yourself over at Turnstile Tea, because that's where I am. Because I'm on fan support.
Okay.
Come and say hello.
I took my godson to his first ever Liverpool game. I think he's 12 or 13, Alex. And I sorted the tickets out in November, and the game is in April.
Well.
2 friends of mine, Terry and Tony, who had 2 together in the cot, were going away.
Yeah.
And I went, I'll have the tickets. Whatever, don't care. I'll have the 2 and I'll get Alex. And it turns out it was against Tottenham. It was the day we won the league.
Wow.
So his first and only game at Anfield so far is...
Yeah, don't take him back.
Seeing us,
And
I've been going to watch Everton as well. I've been to Everton's new ground a couple of times because I only live down the road from it. So that's
some stadium, isn't it? It's a massive stadium.
Do you know what? I was speaking to Keith Mullen about it, and he summed it up perfectly for me. He said, I can understand why all the young supporters are excited about it, and it's a great ground, and it's fantastic, but I haven't got any memories there.
Yeah.
And you got to create some memories there of nights at that stadium, or afternoons at that stadium, and I get that. It's not Everton's home, It's the place where Everton play football, but it's not their home.
Get that?
Yeah,
I get that.
And that's gonna take, it's gonna take a couple of seasons, but it will. It'll get its own identity. Just, you got to have some blinding goals there and some good nights. And even, towards the end of the term at Goodison, even those surviving relegation nights were great memories. of not the ideal situation, but I think if you're an Everton fan, you'll take a celebration any way it comes, and the relief of surviving those relegation battles and the euphoria that follows it. There's, it's not winning a trophy, but it's kind of, I would imagine you get the same rush out of it.
I feel we don't have enough time because I've got loads I still want to ask you, but I've not even touched on what you're doing at the moment with your celebrancy. But one thing I do want to get out before this gets to an end, right, is prostitutes.
And cocaine.
Yeah.
Don't Google it at work.
It's freaking amazing, right? And do you know what? I loved that. And I want to know, are you going to rewrite that for the current situation?
No. I started writing a song the other day called Kill the Poor.
What?
Yeah. I've just got, the only line I've got is kill the poor. We don't need them anymore. We've got AI. And all those dreams of yesterday that were once just pie in the sky.
Stick it through Suno. You'll be fine.
No, I've got one more album to finish, which is has the working title Jurassic Nach.
Right.
And I've got the songs, but I need to go into the studio and record them. And I'm hoping a couple of musician friends of mine are going to help me, inject me with some enthusiasm. It's going to be like a big adrenaline jab to go in, because I've done 20 years playing on my own. I'm done with it. I've recorded 4 albums. Apart from having my mates come in and do a bit and play their bits and leave, it's 4 albums I've largely done on my own. So,
do you think you're a front man? Did you always want to be the singer?
Yeah, I've got more front than arrods. I'm not a front man like Brandon Flowers.
Yeah,
but I can give it 10-0. Yeah,
yeah.
But it's not about that for me anymore. It's about playing with other people. Nobody learns to play guitar to play on their own. Nobody learns to play any musical instruments to sit in their house and play on their own. You learn to play to make music with other people, and that's what I need to do. So, the last thing of playing with Olga, I can just sit there and watch her have this moment, and sit there going, how I introduced her, I said, this girl's 15 years old. She demands your silence, not because she's 15 years old, but because she's boss and she's going to smash it. And she did. So I can sit there and play the Power of Love in my sleep. So I'm just sitting there opposite Olga, watching her going.
Well, my pitch to you then, Nash, is I'm learning the bass guitar. So if you've got any really simple bass lines and you want a free bass guitarist to come on in, then I'm there.
Do you know what
I'm there.
You know what, man? Play the guitar and go to the Florida Guitar Group, because it's a community, and I've not seen anything like it. It is a real vibe, and there is an energy that exists there, that and the energy comes from the people who attend it.
Right.
Yeah. Go down there with your bass, mate. Get involved.
Yeah, we'll have a go.
There might be a bass section.
Well, I was going to say, I saw your clip on Facebook, and it didn't look like there was any bass guitarists there. We were all 6 strings.
Yeah,
but
get the 6 strings.
Yeah,
get involved, or get a 6-string bass.
Yeah, but it's good. You've signed my latest version of the album that came out. That 40 years. I can't believe 40 years since that being out. And also, what about your audiobook? Why don't you reissue that?
Can't be asked.
It's already recorded.
On YouTube.
It's already recorded.
No, I put it all on YouTube. It's on there free. If you want to listen to Nasher Says Relax audiobook, just search it. You'll find there's 14 and a half hours of it. And it's different from the published book. It's the draft that I sent them. So it's very much more conversational.
Well, I had to laugh when I saw the video clip that you had in there where you were sitting in some kind of darkened room with cables.
Yeah, that was my studio. Oh, God. You know what, Kirst, doing it? When I started out, I was reading it like I was working for the BBC because I was painfully aware that people from foreign countries may wish to purchase my product. By the end of it, I'm like Paul O'Grady. And it's like Teach Yourself Scout. It is, because it was like, it's so... There's no creativity. in it at all, because the creativity is already done.
Yeah.
All it is potential mistakes.
Yeah.
And all of those fantastic bits of alliteration that you put on the page are great on the page.
Yeah.
Because the poetry of them rolls out in your head as the reader. When you come to say it, it's like you got Scylla's teeth in. So when I was this was for Steve. When I was recording it, every time I made a mistake, I'd do a clap so I could see the spike in the wave, and I'd go back. And there was times it looked like applause. It was just like the 16 claps there. Oh God!
Don't talk to him, because he's just done an audio book for someone, and he didn't do. I said to him, "You needed something to quickly identify it."
You know,
so he had to listen to it all again.
I think Ian McNabb. When I did mine, I said to him, "You should do yours," and he got on it and did it.
Yeah.
And he just went in the studio and read the book. And it's like listening to Ian McNabb. It's brilliant. I couldn't do it. I just couldn't do it. There was mistakes in it.
Right.
And there's chunks of it. And it's not even like by chapter 40, you're on it. It's just the same. And there'd be things you sit there for an hour recording it, and it hasn't been in records. And you're like, oh my God. Yeah. No. Reissue my audio book. It's on YouTube. Knock yourself out.
Come on.
No, because the only thing that I can think about writing a book, and I'll distract into what I'm doing now. I'm coming up for my 600th funeral as a funeral celebrant.
Yeah.
And I think if I'm doing 100 a year, 4 years from now, there will be a point where I'm going to go, right, I'm going to have a month off here, and I'm going to go back through these, because I've kept the eulogies of everyone I've done, and tell some of the stories about these people.
Yeah.
And if people are it, I've got an Instagram account for my celebrant thing called Nasher the Celebrant. And it started out just as a way of me keeping count of how many I did. And it was just usually a name, age, and a picture of a flower. And I put a picture of my tie. And so this has started. So there's over 600 entries. And as it started going, by the time I'm getting to 20, and I'm including little bits of information about these people. So now I fill my Instagram post with information about the people who sent you the curtains. And they say it's not an attempt to get followers. It's just so I can go, like, I spoke to someone last night, and I did this Mars funeral, which was October, and his dad's just died. So it's like, Joyce, yeah, I know Joyce, and I go back and I go, yeah, and I've got the eulogy there, and I can see bits of what she did. But amazing histories of people, and as we get older, we'll. I think there's a point when you turn 50 that you're definitely nearer the front of the queue than you are the back. Yeah, not many people live to 100, believe me. Or if they are, I'm not sending them through the curtains. But they're. I think there's at that point in your life, and certainly for me, you're spinning plates, and there's all of these things that this is your life. You're like one of those Greek plate spinners, and you evaluate the plates that are in this inner circle that are more important to you. And you know him, that minge bag who never gets to eat his plate connected, and him, I never hear from him unless he wants something. He can lag off as well. Yeah. And then when you get to 60, bong, yeah, shots, no, don't want to know. And I think, and that's the thing about, people saying, go back and do the Frankie thing. I'm in the job that I do, I'm painfully aware that the clock is ticking. It's not on my shoulder, and it doesn't really press on me, on my life and my outlook, but I'm aware of it. And I don't want to spend the time that I've got left doing that. I'd rather be playing with Olga Fitz and the guitar group than playing the O2 Arena. And I say that from the bottom of my heart. Because you play you can't see them. You see the front four rows.
But are you not proud, Nash? Because, when I used to do the festivals, I'd go around to Rewind and all that kind of stuff. And you've got people there who are wearing the big Frankie Says T-shirts and everything else. Your influence and your legacy that you've left.
Yeah, I don't like those people. I don't want to play for those people.
No, I'm saying play,
you know what? Because those people were young once. And what they're doing what they listened to and when they got on the train, it was exciting and it was like what you're just conveying to me for the time we've spent together is how important it was to you. And going standing in a field somewhere is not the same thing. And you know what? People might not get out a lot and they might want to go out and get dressed up in their 80s gear and go and do all that. Knock yourself out. But I just don't want to spend my time.
I get it.
It was of its time.
I get it because I used to have a business, an IT business, and I sold that a couple of years ago. And would I want to get back into it? No. I'm doing this because you know what? I want to move on and do something else and go. I've parked that now, and I want to do something else.
Yeah, life's too short.
Yeah,
and there's loads of fun to be had, and I'm actually I couldn't be happier.
Well,
in where I am.
What I would love then, Nash, is for you to come back at some point, talk more about your celebrancy and what you've done since, because I've enjoyed this. But I feel there's loads more to do. So on that note, everybody, thanks again for being our first.
Thank you very much.
Timing is perfect when he's got a mouthful of sweets. Right. But no, it's been absolutely fantastic. And
gents is £600 a tooth. Steer clear.
See you later. Take care.
Nice one.